We're doing this Igorish style. As you can see,
Which one?
See, because somebody misplaced the remote to the camera. So, UFC 152 came and went this past weekend. I think if you watch our preview video, I think I was pretty much spot on with how it was going to go.
You were very accurate.
With the exception of the scare of Jon Jones.
Right.
Scared his elbow off.
It's funny because, you know, Jon Jones, you can look at it a couple ways with Jon Jones. And we'll kind of bounce around. We don't need any real format for this. But it's Jon Jones, if you look at it, he's getting the job done. You know? And, you know, see how you are right now? See how you're reacting? That's how everybody's reacting. And that's how I was reacting because I was thinking, you almost got caught. You know? But let me ask you this. After seeing him get through that
Anderson would whip his ass.
Oh, I definitely think that.
If that was your question.
No.
Oh.
But do you think what do you feel about him as his heart and everything?
Oh, he's got a huge heart.
Yeah.
I don't think, and that's the amazing thing. Like, if anyone out there after this questions his heart, I don't understand, because if you read the thing about Vitor's like, I had it on when his elbow started to pop and snap and crackle. Right. I stopped. He didn't say he stopped, but he let up the pressure. And when he let up the pressure, that's what allowed Jones to get out. Right. So that tells me either Vitor's gone a little bit soft. Right. Or because I'd have held on until it broke, or the ref told me to stop. Yeah. Like, because that would have been, in my opinion, Vitor's biggest win in his whole entire career.
I just think, obviously, you know, a lot of people are saying, okay, now Jones needs, and including Jones himself has said, okay, I need to go out and I need to work on my, you know, jiu-jitsu a little bit. But, I mean, I think that another one of his issues is, and we said it before the fight, is that when you have somebody that is aggressive, that has good hands, it seems to baffle him a little bit. You know, and I think Gustafsson could be the guy, or who knows who could be the guy. But
well, next up on deck, for some reason, they're saying it's going to be Dan Henderson still. And I'm like, he doesn't even need to change his training plan to fight Dan Henderson. Like, there's nothing.
No. I mean, Dan Henderson is a great fighter, but he doesn't have.
He's got one thing.
One thing, and he knows that. Right. You know.
And the thing is I was talking to Jimmy. Yes, I still keep in contact with Jimmy, even though he's not here. He was like, well, do you think Dan Henderson could knock him out with one punch? And I'm thinking to myself, if he got it off clean. Because what you got to understand is, for Dan Henderson to throw that punch, he needs space to throw it. He cannot throw it with everything he's going to need on it to knock him out.
Well, the thing
is in close.
Right. Yeah.
And if you get in close, I think Jon Jones will take you down. And Jon Jones' top position is the strongest in the UFC.
Well, he just has so much fucking leverage because he's so lengthy too. I mean, once he starts, I'm like, does he have like fucking?
And then he drops him
elbows like a butterfly knife. Dude. I mean, it just cuts you right away. And this is the thing, too. You got to think of Henderson. It's like, how the fuck do you get inside to do that? Like, it's just tough. I don't know. I like to see him fight Gustafsson.
And the thing is Henderson would have to be medium range. He can't be in too close because he's not going to get enough leverage. Because if you look at Dan Henderson, it's not a straight right. No. It is this giant.
It's a looping right.
And to do that,
almost kind of like. Well, Fedor's. Remember how he just ducked his head and he had but it's out there.
He needs space.
Yeah.
And Jon Jones is not dumb. I think between him and GSP, I don't think it's a coincidence that they're both with Greg Jackson, and both are probably two of the best game-ready game planners and adjustable fighters in the ring. Right. They both do it great.
Now, you know what's funny? Since we're talking about Greg Jackson and GSP, and, you know, the GSP press conference is going to be this Thursday, it was funny. You know what I found funny about this fight? Where was this fight located?
Toronto, I think.
Okay. Where is Toronto located?
In Canada?
Yeah. Who is the most famous fighter in Canada's hero? Canada's hero.
Jon Jones.
Very funny, George.
GSP,
right.
He wasn't even there, was he?
How would you describe GSP's fighting style?
Nat-esque.
Right.
He's just buzzing around. Honestly, no, it depends. It depends who he's fighting. With Koscheck, he got in and got out. Right. It's been a long time. We've seen him take people down at the end of rounds. It's very calculated.
Right. It's very calculated. That flyweight championship was the same type of thing that you see from GSP. But yet, the fucking Canadians were booing their asses off.
That made no sense.
I did not understand that, because it was good. I mean, GSP is super talented. We know he is fucking an incredible fighter. I mean, if you take any individual and say, okay, he's improved the most and he's learned the game the best, it's GSP. Yeah. I mean, but if you're not, if for the people that sit back and we say that about GSP and you say, you guys are hating, we're not hating on him. We're just saying that, hey, the same thing that the Canadians were booing about or some of the things that we sometimes boo about, you know?
But what Kevin's alluding to is Demetrius Johnson is your, yes, Demetrius Johnson won that fight.
Yes, he
Via
is.
split decision. Sorry, I was reading right to left, not left to right.
One person had Benavidez win.
It was strange. It's a split decision, which tells me that you're probably going to get a rematch between those two.
Oh my God!
And then Benavidez will win that, and then you'll get another rematch. So I don't know. Put it this way: that class I can handle those two guys for 3 rounds.
Right.
5 rounds for me is tough because I'm gonna tell you right now, I zoned out in round 4 and 5. Does that make me a horrible MMA fan? Fine, whatever.
Well, no, you know what? I think you're going with the majority because there's been a lot of articles in several magazines and publications basically saying that I
was flipping back and forth to the LSU game.
Right.
Sorry.
They said a flyweight title fight is not a big draw right now. It's just not going to be a big draw. Now, Cub Swanson did exactly what we thought he said.
Knock that out. And
Cub Swanson is nasty.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you what, at the beginning of that fight, I was like, ooh, he might have a problem here because he was giving up some height, and the guy was obviously confident in pressing Cub, and then Cub pressed his hand right up against his temple.
This guy did come out, Olivier did come out and say he was injured. I just thought I'd share that with you, George.
I don't give a shit. Supposedly all of you guys are injured, and all of you should pull out of all your fights. That's the one thing we're hearing a lot. Like, then all of you need to change something.
Right.
Like, I don't understand. Like, if you've been doing, put it this way, I played football from the time I was 8 to the time I was 18. At 18, I didn't need to practice as hard because guess what? I know what I'm getting ready to do.
You know what's funny? I mean, this is going to sound crazy, and some people will be like, Kevin's fucking lost his mind. But if I was, it has been so bad, and obviously we're going to roll into the whole thing with Strikeforce, and now their event is canceled for this upcoming weekend. But it has been so bad as of late with fighters getting injured. You just know the injury bug's going to hit you. You know if you have a main card, and it has 5 fights, there's no way that those 10 fighters are going to make it to that event if it's 3 months out. It's just no way. It hasn't. I don't remember the last time it happened.
Because did you hear the lead up to the Matt Hamill, Roger Howlett thing? And no, I'm not going to make a deaf joke until you sensitive, until you, the overly sensitive guy on Twitter, dude, calm down.
Right.
In all honesty, I wanted to hear the Matt Hamill interview, and I'm not just kidding. I'm like being serious. The guy took all this time off, comes back to the ring, wins his fight, and we don't get an interview. Why not?
You know what the funny thing is I think like George and I genuinely really like Matt Hamill as a fighter, but it's like, here we go. But I mean, we do, and it's like I think people just take shit out.
Like with Roger Howlett, he was supposed to fight, then he got injured. Someone else was supposed to step in, and then it turned out he had a little more time, and then got back. I mean, it just shows you. So like, to me, in MMA, you guys need to change something up. You know, you can't make money if you're not fighting. So
I think that it's. Obviously, we'll roll into what's happening in the Strikeforce card. Gilbert Melendez.
You don't want to talk about Bisping and Stann?
Oh yeah, shit! I forgot all about that. Anyway, I think Bisping's.
I'm gonna tell you what's.
I like Bisping.
I do too. But and you know what's pissing me off is that Dana White goes, "Yeah, him versus Anderson looks intriguing, but maybe not next." Why? The guy's been a company man. He's fought everyone he's had to fight. Yeah, granted, he's not undefeated, but who at 185 deserves a title fight more than Michael Bisping? Tell me.
The one thing I have seen, and I think it's to me, it's bad about Dana, and I don't care what anybody says. Dana White has his favorites, man. Oh. He has his favorites. You don't see people who are the presidents of organizations. They usually stay out. But Dana White is somebody who has a blog. Dana White likes to be, get in the mix with shit.
He tweets, he blogs.
And he does that. And when you're like that, you open yourself to, people fucking with you and doing things. But he gets really...
How can you not like Bisping? He runs his mouth and sells tickets.
Yeah, he's like fucking Chael Sonnen.
But he wins. Yeah. He shows up and puts on a good show every single time, whether he's getting knocked out, knocking... Well, I don't know last time he knocked anyone out. But he just... You know what you're getting. He's a known commodity. Like, Chris Lieben still has a job.
Right.
Chris Lieben doesn't have near the wins that Bisping does. Can Bisping beat Anderson Silva? Probably not. Will it be entertaining for about 8 minutes? Probably, because then Anderson will end him in the second round.
Yeah. I think, I'm a proud American, but I think Dana White just kind of shifts to the North American fighters.
You think? And the Brazilians. He loves some Brazilians.
You think so?
Because when he goes down there, he sees a sold-out arena and giant pay-per-view numbers.
Anyway, moving on. The Gilbert Melendez fight.
Gilbert Melendez got hurt.
Gilbert Melendez got hurt. The Strikeforce card said, fuck it.
Showtime called up Coker and said, we're not putting this on TV. And Coker said, yep, that's a wrap. And then next week, Frank Mir was supposed to fight Daniel Cormier, or whenever that fight. That fight's not happening. Yeah, Cormier is still supposed to fight, but I have a feeling just cancel the whole damn thing.
And this is the thing. The fucked up thing was UFC bought it obviously for the talent, and they started immediately taking out the talent from the heavyweight class. And then they were like, okay, you can't take out any more talent. But now you got a point where you don't even have events happening anymore. No. And it's like all these guys like Jacare and this other talent. Tyron Woodley, Gilbert Melendez.
They're not able to fight, not because they're not healthy and able to fight. They're not fighting because their company is not putting on events.
Yeah. Seriously, at this point in time, because you don't see females getting as hurt as much, I would just turn fucking Strikeforce into all-female fighting.
I'd absorb it, change the name, rebrand that bitch, and put it out as women's MMA.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I mean,
take the men, take the ones you want, keep them, send them to the UFC. Take the ones you don't want. Said, it's been nice. Go fight somewhere else.
Go to Bellator.
Well, did you hear about Bellator?
I didn't hear about what happened.
They're having contract issues. Dana came out and ran his mouth. Something about the way Bellator does matching. Mm-hmm. Like if you get cut from an organization and you go to get picked up by another one, mm-hmm. this company has an option to match. Like so, if UFC cuts Kevin White,
right?
Kevin White's going to go sign with Shark Fights.
Before you can sign with him, if I match it.
Yeah, I'm still with the UFC.
I follow.
Somehow Bellator doesn't allow that to happen, or even if you've talked to Bellator or something like that,
they have some kind of funky.
Yeah, there's something clause. I couldn't quite understand what Dana was getting at in his.
This is the thing I do, and this. Tell me what you think about this. Obviously, I thought of it real quick, and somebody will probably say, "That'll never make sense." But what about if you had a standby fighters?
Why not?
Like say for example, you have a card, mm-hmm. and immediately. You have a light heavyweight fight, then automatically you have a standby.
I think
they're just standby. You know who the standbys for that card are 2 months out.
Thank you. If you, I agree with you 100%. Yeah. I don't think it's dumb. Look, you tell someone look, if you have the number 4 and 5 fighters fighting,
right,
and 6, 7, 8, and 9 aren't fighting, but they're training for something down the road, be like, look. Mm-hmm. You get in shape, you be ready, because if one of these guys pulls in, you're going to go in.
And you tell everybody that. Yeah. You go, okay, Jon Jones, like for example, Jon Jones, you're fighting Dan Henderson, okay? If Dan Henderson pulls out, the standby is Chael Sonnen, and that's who you'll be fighting.
Right. And then there's no chance for anyone to back out and go, no, I can't do that. Yeah. Fuck it. No, it's going to happen. Yeah. Or you forfeit your purse. Mm-hmm. You got to hit these guys in the pocket. And to me, that would change the way they train.
And you know what you could do even? You could say, okay, I let the fighter agree to who the standby will be. You know what I'm saying? Just say, okay, these are your options or whatever. This is, blah, blah, blah. Right. I mean, they got to have something because, man, this year, 2012, the injury bug has fucked up some fucking
Now, do you think that's from, what do you, is it from overtraining?
I think it's, I think just like with Gilbert Melendez. I mean, him and Jake Shields were going hard. They were trying to go for takedowns, and they just fell bad, and bam.
But why?
These guys have to train harder. They got to be able to go longer and faster, and be, it's just the sport is evolving so fast that you have to be a better athlete. And to be that athlete, you have to. That's why guys are taking TRTs. That's why guys are getting,
Ride a bike.
Yeah, be an Armstrong guy. But it's just the sport's evolving, and, it's. There's more demand for these guys to fight more.
So here's some questions that we're going to give you guys the power. The
power.
Standby fighters. Should the UFC start thinking of a standby fighter?
Standby.
Number 2, if you had what would you do with Strikeforce? And number 3, have you gone to Blaze today and shared the video?
Yeah. Because we still got iTunes cards to give away. We still got fucking
SMS.
All kinds.
Headphones.
Yeah, and then we got a new one coming up in October.
Yep, it's going to be a...
Bling, bling. Anyway, we are getting the fuck out of Dodge. Anything else you'd like to say?
Bye.
Peace'ems.